Hi, my name is Jamie Krupka, naturalist for the ODC Network. We have a great experience planned for you today. We're going to talk about bird banding. It's an ancient technique for putting something on a bird, releasing it, so that maybe you'll catch it again. It goes back to the time of Romans. Now, modern day banding started in the early 1900s. 1902 is what they believe. And what it means is you're catching birds, you're putting a metal bracelet around their ankle, and you release them. Let's go outside. I'll collect up all of my materials here, and we're gonna go out onto the property. We'll set up some mist nets, and we'll get started. Let's go. Okay, we're outside, getting some banding going. Again, first things first, we're gonna make sure our data sheet is right. So as I look at our data sheet, you can see I have the date. We're actually at my house. There's a number of pages. This is the page 1. Let me write that in there, page 1. I had the nets set up at 7:25 a.m. I have a total of 4 nets that were 12 meters long. Okay, and the person doing the banding this morning is me, Jamie Krupka. The weather, it's actually a beautiful morning. We have 55 degrees Fahrenheit, blue skies, clear and blue skies, and no wind. You could probably pick up on, there's all sorts of bird activity around us here. We're hoping to get a couple of birds today. All right, so now we're ready to collect data. Again, we'll go with our count of birds, if it's new or if it's been captured before, the name of the species of bird, the numbers that are on the band that we put on the bird, its gender, male, female, or unknown, if it's a hatch year, after hatch year, so on, fat, molt, brood patch. We'll maybe talk about that more later, but it tells us if there's an adult bird sitting on eggs yet, how much it weighs with the bag. I do have my bags ready to go, okay? And if it has parasites, lice, mites, ticks, and then if I'm able to determine its age or its gender, how did I do that? Is it its colors? Is it some other feature about its body? So there we go, we got our data sheet ready to go. We have all of our tools ready, our bags, our loop, be able to look at those bands. Remember how small those band numbers were? And again, if we need to know what band to put on a bird, this is our book that tells us about which band belongs on which bird. And then I've got a whole host of other things in here that we may use. Oh, I forgot about one of the most important things, my scales. So we have a number of scales that we'll have for us too. Okay? So I'm gonna take some bags with me. We're gonna go check out the nets that I've set up and see if I've been able to catch anything. Well, we don't have any birds in the nets yet, but that's okay. We'll give it time. We have the net set up in these great transition zones, the spaces between the forest and my lawn, and that could be a great place then for those birds to be moving through. We hope we catch something soon. If we do catch a bird, we'll make sure we show you the process of pulling it out of the net, as well as banding it and doing all of that data collection that we talked about already. So we will check the nets periodically to make sure they're not the birds aren't stuck in the net for long. We don't want their body temperature to be lowered, and we don't want them to be unnecessarily stressed out by being in the net. So again, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. We'll check on the nets and see if we have anything that we caught. We've got a black-capped chickadee that we caught. This little guy flew into the net just a moment ago as I was walking up to check on him. Let's get him out of the net. So the first thing I gotta do is I gotta get his feet clear of the net. And his legs are so very small and fragile. I have to make sure I don't hurt his legs. So I'm gonna pull him away from the net a little bit here. Get his legs free. He's holding onto the net. Gotta get his legs free. There you go. I got your legs, buddy. Good. Got your legs out. Gotta get it off of your wings. And look at that. Black-capped chickadee. So here we have a bird. There's a really common woodland resident. You can see I'm holding him here by his upper part of his legs so I don't break his legs. I don't want to do that. Very cool. It's a tiny little bird. We'll end up doing some work on him in just a moment. We'll weigh him inside of a bag, so I got to put him in a bag first. I'll put him inside of a bag, weigh him, and then take a look at some other parts, those data collection points we talked about. So here again, black-capped chickadee. Yeah, that's my finger, buddy. Let me show you how to hold a bird. You take two fingers, kind of like you're gonna throw a fastball in baseball, and you make a cage with the rest of your fingers. So I have my two fingers on either side of the bird's head, and then the rest of my fingers are gonna make a cage around his body so he can safely be inside of my hand. He can't open up his wing, and I can actually now stuff him carefully, into my sock that I have. There you go. Now we're ready to go take him to the processing table. Cool. All right, we've got another chickadee in here. I wonder if this is the mate of the other bird that we just caught. It's the same net. So I'm gonna get it pulled away from the net. I gotta figure out which side he went in. And I think he went in from this side. So I'm gonna pull him away from the net here. Gotta find where his feet are. Once I find his feet, then I'll know exactly how to get him out of the net, which way he went in. All right, I think I got his feet correctly. Yep, that's my finger, bud. So I pull. The net off of his feet because he's holding onto it right now. Yep, that's my finger. I won't hurt you, buddy. Kind of got tangled up in there. There we go. Now I'm getting it. Sometimes when they flap their wings, it actually helps, because then you can figure out where they're stuck. It's a feisty one. There we go. You got to be patient when you're getting a bird out of a net. Figure out where they're caught. This guy's stuck in here pretty good. Doesn't help that he's biting me every time I try to get him out. one wing is out, so that's good. So now I just gotta get this wing out. Ow. Here you go, here you go. Perfect. Took a minute to get them out, but there you go. Black-capped chickadee. Now we've got 2 black-capped chickadees to process. It's a good-looking bird. We have 2 black-capped chickadees. Let's go process them at our workstation. Okay, I'm at my workstation now. I have everything that I need here again. I've got my pliers and tweezers, and I've got my bands and equipment, my loop. I have my scales. So what we caught was black-capped chickadee. So I have to look up to see what a black-capped chickadee's correct band size would be. I know that it was a black-capped chickadee. I just got it out of the net. So let's take a look to see what a black-capped chickadee would have for a band size. Chickadee would be page 334. 334. Black-capped chickadee would take a band size 0 or 1C. So I think I'm gonna do a 0. All right, don't need that one. I don't need that one, but I need this one right here. This is my 0s. All right, band size 0. I have those ready to go. What I'm gonna do is, because it's just me here, I'm gonna actually read off the numbers on the band prior to getting the bird out. And I'm going to open up the band so that I can just do a little bit quicker. All right, so here we go. Here's our band. Look at how tiny that thing is. All right, so I'm gonna use pliers to open it up. Big enough so it'll just be able to go around the bird's leg. You can see I just have it open up so I could slide it right around the bird's leg. Now, let me use my loop to look closer at the numbers. There's 4 numbers on top and 5 below. I have 2460. Write that down. 2460. And under it is 65376. 65376. 65376. Okay, so I will confirm that before I let the bird go. And now I have my band open, I have my numbers read, and now I'm ready to do some more work on our bird. So I have to weigh it. I have a towel on my table here so things don't roll off. So let's take our first black, it's a new bird, so black-capped chickadee. Black-capped chickadee. And I think this bird's gonna weigh more than 10 grams, but less than 30. So I'm gonna use this scale right here. This is a spring scale. I'm gonna actually pinch the sock that it's in. I'm gonna look closely at the weight. And looks like the weight is, stop moving for a moment, 13.5 grams. Okay, I don't want to lose this scale. I'm going to use that to weigh the bag again. So my weight was 13.5 grams. 13.5 grams, and then I'm going to put a little minus on there so I make sure I remember to subtract the weight of the bag. Okay, so let's get we have our band ready. Let's get our bird out. It was not a recaptured bird. It did not already have a band on it. Now, which one do I have? I don't know. Was it my first or my second? Now, here's what I do, a little trick for myself. I actually put that sock on the scale so I remember to go back and weigh the sock. I gotta weigh that to make sure I know what weight that was. So I subtract the weight of the bag from the bird plus bag. Okay, so here we have our black-capped chickadee. I cannot tell if it is a male or a female. So the gender is unknown. I put a U. It is a bird that has not just recently hatched. So I'm going to put AHY for after hatch year. Now I'm going to look for fat. If it has fat, one of the best places to find it is on the belly of the bird. So I'm going to actually blow on its belly. And look for fat, and it'll look like yellow underneath the skin. The skin is clear enough or able to be seen through, and I don't see any deposits of fat under the skin, so no fat. I'm also going to look for its molt. So I have to look at its head, its tail, and its wings. I'm going to start with the back of its head. I don't see any pin feathers in there, which I wouldn't expect to in springtime. This bird should be fully feathered out. When I look at its tail, I don't see any feathers that are waiting to come in. So no tail feather molt, no head molt, ow, and no wing molt. So no molt at all. I'm gonna write none. Now brood patch. Now brood patch would be skin, vascular tissue that's on the bird's belly. If this bird is sitting on eggs, it actually has veins that go underneath, vascular tissue underneath its skin that would draw the warm blood from the bird to its belly so that it can actually sit on eggs and keep them warm. So for me to be able to see that, again, I have to blow on the bird's belly and look to see if I see veins or vascular tissue on its belly. And I don't actually see any vascular tissue. Does not appear to have any vascular tissue, so no brood patch for this black-capped chickadee. Now I look for parasites. So things like lice, mites, and ticks. So as I look at the bird's feathers, what I'm looking for is little critters living on the feathers. Some of them I'll be able to see, others not. So if I looked at its head, I didn't see any there. Now I'm gonna look at its feathers, and I'm gonna actually hold out its wing and look to see if it has any feather mites. I did not see any. Ow. I'm gonna switch hands because this guy's bitey. Maybe this is my second bird that I got that was so bitey. I don't see any mites in this bird's feathers. So no feather mites, no lice. Now where I look for ticks is actually in the bird's ear. Its ear is right where your ear is. It's kind of near its eye. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to use these tweezers to gently move that bird's feathers by its head. Let's see, I think I'm going to have to do it. Ow. It's really good at biting. I'm gonna hold it like this so that I can control its head a little bit more. I'm gonna look underneath the eye to see into its ear to see if it has any ticks. Now, black-capped chickadees are small birds. They have a small ear. I'm looking at it right now, looking down into its ear. I don't see anything. Gotta get just the right spot. Nope. No ticks. No mice. No mice. Mites. No lice. No ticks. No mites. No lice. Okay, so now I've taken a look at this bird, tried to determine its overall health. There's nothing I would necessarily do about its overall health. That's not my job here. My job is to just take those assessments and put a band on it and let it go. But if there was a significant population that was affected by mites or ticks or lice or some other ailments, this would be a way for scientists to be able to look at that information and come up with some conclusions. So again, we're just taking the data right now. We're not trying to come up with any solutions or conclusions at this point. We're just taking data. So let me go ahead and put that band on this bird and we'll let it go here shortly. All right, so I'm gonna take this bird's leg and hold its leg out away from its body a little bit like this. I'm gonna put the band in a way that I can see the bird if I'm holding on to it. There you go. So the band was already opened up. Now I very carefully, these are made out of aluminum, very easy to bend. And I make sure that it's loose on the bird's foot, on its leg, not its foot. I make sure the band is loose and it doesn't have any sharp edges so that it does not impact the bird negatively for the rest of its life. So there we go. We've got a band on that bird's leg. So now for the rest of this bird's life, if someone ever finds it, they'll know that it was banded here and its number is 2460-65376. Let me make sure that that's the case. 2460-65376. 65376. Got it. Okay, now we're ready to let this bird go, and then we have one more piece of information we have to record. So I'm just gonna let this one go now. Here we go. Awesome. So last thing I gotta do before I go to our next bird, he's calling up in the tree over there. I have to weigh the bag that it was in. The bag weighs 2 grams. So remember I weighed the bird in the bag. Now I've taken away the weight. So that means 13.5 grams minus 2. That bird weighed 11.5 grams. Not much. Cool. Let's get to another bird. So here we have our black-capped chickadee, number 2. We've got it in the bag. Got to make sure the bag's off the table. This one weighs 14.25 grams. So it weighs just a touch more. So 14. I'm going to write 14.5. There's obviously some margin of error there, so I'm going to say 14.5 grams. This is another black-capped chickadee. It had not been caught before, so it's a new bird. All right, so we have that. Again, before I get the bird out, I'm gonna actually get my band ready, just because it's just me here. So I'm gonna take my band. I'm gonna look at the numbers on it. 2460. 2460. Under it is 65377. 65377. Now I could have assumed it was the next number in that series, but I have to confirm it. So, all right, so now I have the band. I'm gonna open it up so it's ready to go on the bird's foot. Ready to go. Now I'm ready to get the bird out. Again, I've got to weigh this bag one more time after I'm done processing the bird. Let go of the bag. I used the 30-gram spring scale, so I'm going to attach it to this 30-gram spring scale to remind myself I have to weigh this when I'm done processing the bird. Okay, so we've got our black-capped chickadee. And again, we're gonna go through the process of our data collection. So I have an unknown gender. I don't know if it's a male or a female. There's no way for me to tell with black-capped chickadees. They don't look different. If I was able to maybe see an egg in its belly or something, then I'd know it's a female. So it's also not a young bird. It has a full adult plumage, so it's after hatch year, AHY. Now I have to look for fat. So again, I'm gonna hold that bird out. I'm gonna hold the bird kind of like I'm holding the baseball, where I have 2 fingers on either side of its head, and then I make a cage out of my other fingers to make it so they can't open up its wings. I have to blow on its belly to look for fat. I don't see any fat on this bird. All right, so let me write that down. No fat. Now I have to look for molt. So I have to look at its head, its tail, and its wings. I'll start off with its tail because its tail is right here. It's easy. I don't see any pin feathers, those new feather shafts that are starting to grow. So none in the tail. I can use my tweezers here to just check to see if I see pin feathers on the head of the bird. None noticed. And then I can stretch out a wing or 2 to see if I see any molt in its wing. None present there. None present there, so no molt at all. Now I look at the brood patch, and this is where I hold it up. I'll get it close to you. I'm gonna blow on its belly. There's no brood patch, so none. All right, now I have to look for ectoparasites. So these are visible. They're not microscopic. They're small. They're not microscopic, but they're small invertebrates, lice, mites, and ticks. Okay, so no mites, no lice, no ticks. All right, last thing I need to do for this bird is put a band on it. So again, I've got my band ready to go. Okay, I'm gonna go through my list here. It's a new bird, I mark that. It's a black-capped chickadee. I have the band numbers. I'm gonna read those again in a moment. I don't know if it's a male or female. It's after its hatch year. It is a bird that has no fat, no molt, no brood patch. It weighed 14.5 grams in the bag. We gotta measure that again. No lights, no mites, no ticks. All right, so I'm gonna take a look at that band one more time before I let it go. This is a super important part of this process of data collection to make sure that everybody from this point forward knows this bird, 246065377, was caught right here in my yard. Who knows if somebody will catch it? It'll be a pretty low number of people that actually ever get a chance to catch a bird that's been banded, but if it is caught, boy, the information that you can collect. So we're good to go. We're gonna let this black-capped chickadee go. Cool. Before I finish up, I'm gonna make sure I weigh our bag, which weighs 2.5 grams. So I have my last black-capped chickadee weighed 14.5 grams on my weight, and I take away 2.5 grams, so it weighed 12 grams. Very good. Well, I hope you enjoyed bird banding with me this morning. There's more birds out there. We'll see how long I keep the nets up, what more other things that I catch. But at this point, I have my data. I'll show you my data sheet again. I've got the date, where it's at. This is page 1 of, at this point, only 1. Started at 7:25 a.m. I have 4 12-meter nets up. I'm the one doing the banding. It's 55 degrees out. It might be a little bit warmer now, but not much. It's clear. There's no wind. And then I have all my data for my birds. And what we'll do is we'll actually take this information and we'll submit it to a banding software that's through the U.S. Geological Survey. So from this point forward, any of those birds that are ever caught can be looked up. So thanks for exploring with me today. I hope you enjoyed bird banding. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call. We'd be happy to help you out. We'll see if we can get any more video footage of bird banding today. But if not, come out to the Outdoor Discovery Center. Maybe you'll get a chance to see us. We typically do bird banding in springtime, month of May, and again in October, because those are times of the year when birds are actively moving around. So hard to do in the winter time, and when it's really, really hot out, not as much bird activity either. So spring and fall is when we tend to do our bird banding. Thanks for exploring with me today. Hopefully you get a chance to get out and explore in your backyards to see what kind of birds you have. Have a great day.
Now let's go outside.